What's up, my friends? Long time no see. What's going on, people? Welcome to the show. Looks like I'm live on all kinds of platforms right now. I'm on D Live, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, Periscope, coming live all over the place. Long time no chat. What is up, everybody? So, what's gone on in the last 2 weeks? Rioting, bullshit. Can you guys hear me good? Let me know if you can hear me really good. Say yes, I can hear you. Looks good. Yeah, it does look good. It does look good. It comes with everything in commercials so far. It's looking really good. Can you guys hear me good? Let me know. Let me know. I'm in sunny Las Vegas, so I gotta wear my sunglasses. Anyway, so I assume you all can hear me very good, so that's a good thing. Good, good, good. So I spent the last month getting things ready for streaming. We're finally here, kids. We're finally here after, I don't know, how many bands did I get in the past month? I don't know, 5, 6. So I narrowed it down to why I was getting banned quick. It had to do with Twitter censorship as usual. So I no longer do direct messages with anybody because I think it was coming from an internal source. So I had to cut everybody out and start over and keep everybody out of my DM box. You know what they say, the haters are closer than you fucking think in the Republican Party. Might want to crank up the volume just to hear. On my microphone, you think so? Let's go ahead and take a look. Do. Thanks for telling me. I'll adjust it right now. Let's see. So much time, too little time to do it in, folks. Let's see. Let's open that up. No, let's not open that up. Let's open this up. This will work. Open this up. Do. The microphone should be, microphone, let's see. There we go. I know what's doing it. Let's see. Try that one. I bet you it's coming in loud and clear now. So that should do it. That should do it. Doom. There you go. That's nice and loud now. I know it is. So anyway, back to what I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. In the last 2 weeks, there's been all kinds of antics from the left. There's a couple stories that's going around right now that's pretty weird, right? There's the story of the two gentlemen that have been found in some trees. I can tell you that right now. That's not a Republican thing. It's not a conservative thing. It's not a race issue. This is gangs, I believe, that are probably up to no good, and they're getting rid of their rivals. And when you think about the gangs in America, you have to think, would they do something like that? Absolutely, cause some racial tensions. I would not be surprised when them stories are done that we find out that it was people that you wouldn't expect had done that. It's not suicide. I don't believe it's suicides. I think it's, let's face it, it's inner city beefs and sprinkled with a little racial tension on top of it. We haven't seen anything like that in decades, and all of a sudden they find people hanging from, oak trees. Is just no white person's gonna hang anybody of color from a fucking tree. Everybody knows that. So this is a way to cause more racial division in America by any means possible. And there's some bad actors out there doing bad actor things. You look at people like old Ice Cube. Everybody knows Ice Cube, making them great tweets that he's making lately with the crazy talk. So there's a lot of bad actors out there right now. puts the heat onto some other group. Absolutely. You know, it's like, listen, it's crazy even to think about like what is happening in America right now. Like it's just insane with these different groups, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't imagine all the crap Trump is having to go through right now with all these different groups. It's insane. You've got, and then you got what the Seattle guys, right? The Antifa Seattle guys have taken over parts of Seattle, and their leader Chaz. I've been keeping an eye on him, and I was, interested in this Chaz guy, and this Chaz guy has deemed himself the uh, all Lord Emperor of Chazville. I call it Chazville or Chazington or whatever you want to call it. So this guy Chaz has taken over parts of Seattle, and in a video he's beating up another guy because this guy is questioning this leader of Seattle, and he's turning to violence when they're supposed to be a non-violent movement, right? They're supposed to be peace and love and building gardens and shit, and this dude's beating people up in Chazington. Uh, yeah, it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And in another episode in Chazington, a preacher, a street preacher, this Christian guy was just preaching on the street. And lo and behold, there's a video that pops up, and the dude's down on the ground. He has these Antifa guys on top of him, and they're using the same technique to choke him out. They've got their knees on his neck, and the guy's yelling, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." So, it's like, what? You need ID to enter? Oh, great. So they want to know who you are when you walk in there and what's your name. Then in another video, the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen, dude's running naked. And my wife showed me this video. Dude's running naked in Chazington, and they're like, "Where are your pants?" And the dude's like, "Chaz doesn't want the white men to wear pants." And this dude's running down the street, and his wing wang's hanging out, flopping back and forth, and he's like, says something like, my kids have to be naked too. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, so meanwhile in Chazington, we've got like Lord of the Flies going on. Like, it's crazy. The white people have to be subservient, and they have to run around naked. Uh, I don't know anybody who would want to live in Chazington, but Chazington's god awful to even think about living at. But I can't even imagine the amount of bullshit that goes on in Chazington and Seattle. But this is expected, right? I mean, it's election year. Donald Trump is going to have to put up with a lot of bullshit all the way to November. And speaking of Donald Trump, he's that poor guy. He's enduring all of these hits from the left and the right, and let's talk about where are the pundits? Like, where are all these pundits that are supposed to be so based and this and that? There's a reason why I have to come back, ladies and gentlemen. The pundits can't get the job done. It's going to take somebody like me. And I'm going to have to avoid bans to get my message across. I'm going to have to be a little more sweet about what I say. But I got to come back. We can't win without my antics. So, I think a lot of these things from the pundits have run its course. The information, the blah, 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 blah. I think it's coming to an end. Good to catch you on live. Lost you again. Well, my Twitter's right there, Zero Vegas. You can find me over there. And yeah, so it's gonna be good as I come back and make a comeback here. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, but Zero Vegas is up and running. So it's coming. It's coming along. So. Need your humor. I have good humor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Humor's a good thing. Laughing is a good thing. So that's good. I decided I'm going to go with the blind look on my scopes. But yeah, I got my Trump hat on today in support of our president because we got to support our president. Like I said, he's not going to lose. Don't worry, guys. He's not going to lose. It's going to be a tough fight, though. It's going to be a tough fight, but he ain't going to lose. We're gonna have to get tough and pull our pants up here. A lot of it, and the biggest thing for the right, stop caving to the left. That's most of the problem here. Is watching the right cave to the left. You got to stop it. I wish you well, buddy. I'm lucky to still have my accounts. I got more accounts I know what to do with. It's not an account problem. It's being able to not be attacked by your own party problem. We have a lot of cucks on the left, and my accounts in the last year have been taken out by other Republicans. It's not even a thing about you know one thing about, oh, the left is attacking me. Da, da. I get attacked by the right, ladies and gentlemen, by the right cucks, the people who are afraid of any kind of competition or any kind of speak out or anything like that. I get attacked by those guys. They're the worst of the worst. They try to control the whole Republican Party through mass reporting and doing this and doing that, and we have got to find a way around that because it's not going to work anymore. I'm going to tell you right now, those days are coming to an end. My antics usually get me banned. Don't get me wrong, but these people know exactly what they're up to when they go after my accounts. They look for certain things I post. They'll twist the words and make a big scene with Jack Dorsey. They're the worst of the worst. They're half the reason why we're so what do they call censored right now is because people like me and people that have been banned like me on social media, they're the problem. And they've been doing this for a long time, and that's coming to an end too pretty soon. There's a lot of things coming to an end in the Republican Party, and it's going to be quick and it's going to be fierce. And the base people aren't having it anymore. It's coming to a point. It's coming to a head where yeah, police. Yeah, we're policed by our own party. You got it right there. You just said it. Policed by your own party. Most people know me. I don't run in groups. I don't like groups. I've never liked groupthink. I don't follow along anybody's agenda. I got my own agenda and my own thoughts and my own things about politics. And I will never cave to some leftist thinking group think tank, in the Republican Party that's, time and time again has been tried to be forced down our throats. That is no longer going to be a thing because people are starting to wake up and they're starting to realize, oh, if I say one thing against something, somebody else is going to have a crybaby fit about it. And let's face it, if you've been keeping up with the real news as of late and you've been keeping up with stories and what's going on with the FBI and what's going on with the DOJ and things like that, you understand nobody's getting prosecuted. You understand that nobody's going to jail. You just know. You understand it because you can read. Half the problem is, and Twitter's got a new thing about to come out, and it's a new rule. It's going to consist of you actually have to read the article in order to post the article. So they're going to push this new algorithm, and they're getting pretty smart with these algorithms, where you actually have to read the article and, at least know what you're talking about. So one of the new rules on Twitter is going to be that if you retweet an article, you can't make up your own headline. You actually have to read the article and understand what you're saying, which will be great for good debate and argument. I mean, let's face it, that's what politics used to be about, was debating and arguing, not about the 70,000 fake sealed indictments that the same idiots have been passing around for 4.5 years, 5 years now. So now you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is. And in an article, if it says, hey, Hillary Clinton pleaded the fifth and will not be showing up at the hearing, you'll have to at least have read the article to prove the point that you are making. And, speak the truth. That's the problem with Republicans. There's so much cannon fodder crap out there that you have to dig through what's real and what's not real, and that's got to come to an end. The days of living off conspiracy theories and insanity are almost over. You know, a lot of people were following me when I was talking about the George Floyd situation, which was tragic. George Floyd was a tragic situation. From one idiot cop. Should the other three be charged? I don't know. One guy was a rookie, and a lot of people aren't following this story. One guy was a rookie, and he did say something. He said, "Should we get off him?" You know, this rookie guy says, I don't think we should be choking him. I think we need to roll him over. So this one guy's made bail, $750,000, I believe, but he did say something. So should he be charged? I don't think so personally, because he was a rookie, and he actually said something to the veteran cop and said, "Hey, you need to roll him over." And this guy's saying, I can't breathe. So, you know, it seems like in Minneapolis, they have put these guys up as sacrifices, and that cop's going to walk. And, you know, Minneapolis better get ready, because I've read the whole case. I understand the case. And this one cop, who's a rookie, is going to walk because of the fact that he said something. Yeah, it was his second day at work. Yeah, so this guy says something. So I believe this guy will walk fully, without a doubt, in my mind. If you're studying this case and realize the case, you understand this guy is going to walk. But George Floyd's case is interesting because him and Chauvin worked together at the nightclub, as most people know. And that nightclub wasn't that big. It wasn't that huge. But I read tons and tons of documents and articles on the nightclub, and there's no way these two didn't know each other. They had a past in something. Another thing that was interesting with the Floyd case was also Floyd was a heavy drug user. He had held up a pregnant woman at one time, stuck a gun to her stomach. Floyd wasn't a Boy Scout, let's put it that way. So we're talking, you know, he had multiple felonies on his record. You know, a lot of different things with Floyd. But what was interesting was the owner of the club. The owner of the club during the coronavirus pandemic, on her Facebook, and this is what I got banned for, ladies and gentlemen. This was the total ban, because I dared to go into information of today, not yesterday. I don't put out shit from last year. I'm not putting out sealed indictments or nothing like that. So I start delving into the nightclub. I'm like, what is with the nightclub? Let's really get into the nightclub. So I get into the nightclub, and I find out the lady during the pandemic, oh, I got a rockin' new PC. So I find out the lady during the pandemic had stopped in 3 key areas, 2 in Mexico and 1 in Brazil, cartel hotspots. And this is during the coronavirus lockdown. And at the time she went to Mexico, no Americans were allowed into Mexico or out of Mexico. We had an agreement with Mexico. Neither country was letting any citizens in or out. But yet this lady had managed to get into Mexico and back out of Mexico during a total lockdown of the coronavirus. So that was like, whoa, how did she get in and how did she get out? So all these questions start running through my mind. And then I start to look, I get over to her Instagram account. And I'm like, okay, so I start looking through the Instagram and things like this and that. And lo and behold, I find a image of these 3 dudes in a, what appears to be an SUV, making cartel hand signals. Hand signals are common with South American gangs and things like that. And so I find these cartel hand signals on the Instagram page. So right there tells me, okay, this nightclub has got to have some links to the cartel. And during the riots, all of a sudden, a few days into the riots, after they'd already burned everything down, somebody decides to burn the nightclub down. Convenient, right? The nightclub burns down. So now the nightclub is burned down. Any key to evidence within the nightclub that, you know, links George Floyd and Chauvin together is now gone. You can't get it back. It's just history. So we have that as well. The whole case is interesting. It's very weird. I think we're going to learn more as time goes on. Because face it, Chauvin is facing life in prison. Is he going to talk? Is he going to speak out about the nightclub owner? I think he'll sing after a while about what was really going on in that nightclub. Because I think what we're going to find with the nightclub is human trafficking, drug trafficking, criminal activity within the nightclub. I think that's what you're going to find. Although for Chauvin, it's going to be his word against the club owner's word because she's got connections. One of her connections being Keith Ellison, another connection being the mayor of Minneapolis. So, pretty well connected, right? When you get those kind of connections. I found several pictures of her and Keith Ellison together in the club. So it's, and I go back to Keith Ellison. Let's go back in time, 2016, 2017. This is where I differ from the pundits because they don't remember yesterday to today, but I do. So 2016, 2017, there was an allegation on Keith Ellison about being beat up by beating up a woman. If anybody remembers right, this girl said that he had domestically abused her, had assaulted her. The son had come forward and said da da da. But if you go back in time, him and the lady were visiting nightclubs, if you remember the story correctly. So in the story, the lady talks about how, me and Keith used to go party at the club and have a good time. Da, 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 da. So my regards to any of the so-called journalists out there would be go revisit this lady and ask about the nightclub. Because it's all going to come together if you actually did the work of a real journalist, if you're an investigative journalist. So that would be my first order of business is linking that little scummy guy to the nightclub with his girlfriend that he beat up because I guarantee the evidence is there. People don't understand. And amateur, yeah. George Floyd doing amateur. I saw that, yeah. So human trafficking, right? So yes, so a lot of people know about this. I find porn degenerate, so I don't talk about it much. But yes, George Floyd did a porn on Pornhub.com with a young lady, and it got leaked, right? So most people saw the little, capits of that. I don't promote porn, so I never retweet it. But yes, there was a Pornhub video of George Floyd and a young lady, which was probably human trafficking, right? Let's face it, Pornhub has been under scrutiny for years for human trafficking, and where their degenerate material comes from. A lot of it does come from human trafficking or taking advantage of, low-income people such as single mothers, people without money, things like that. Pornhub should have been shut down years ago. I don't even know how they're still in business, to tell you the truth. But yes, it's a degenerate platform that houses a lot of degenerate things on its platform. And George Floyd was definitely part of that. I think as time goes on, people are going to find more and more tidbits about George Floyd and his past experiences, interwebs with different things. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more porn sites with George Floyd's name on it. And he probably got his at these clubs from doing porn. Let's face it, porn and clubs walk hand in hand. If you go back to the days of the discos and things like that, porn was a big on the disco scene as well. If you know any kind of history about these degenerate behaviors that people take in, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. So it's definitely an interesting case, and it's let's talk about the Atlanta. So at a Wendy's the other night, and I haven't had a chance to really look into it a whole lot, but I've looked into enough to know what happened. Drinking and driving, pulls into the Wendy's, cops show up, pull the guy out of his car, Instead of the guy complying to the drink and driving accusation that was coming from the police officer, he decided to get in a fight with the police officer. On the video, you can see the guy, fighting with the police officer, and it ends up in the guy getting shot because he took the officer's taser. Well, don't grab the cop's gun. But anyway, I'm going to do a scope tonight. I'll be back on tonight. We'll try to make it, I don't know, 9 p.m. Eastern Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm back. I'm going to be streaming a lot more. You guys are going to get excited for the stuff that's going to be coming. It's going to be great. I want you guys to have a blessed day, okay?